Yeah, hi Saurabh.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, thanks for building this landing page. We'll discuss about Twindle in general and the landing page, whatever you created and whatever your interest in the CLI. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will be doing this today after the call. I will start with this form submission Java side, and I will let the mobile responsiveness task to be done by someone else, whoever is interested. So, and after this JS form submission, because I think someone has already did the AWS part, right? That the Excel collection one. So I am thinking of going through that and see what I can do here. After that, I will jump to Twindle CLI and to the JavaScript part.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Let me give a brief update about that. Like
Yeah.
about the email capture part, right? Or the
Yes. Yes.
AWS part is the second priority that Tolga was trying out. That is not urgent at this
Okay.
moment. But Madhusudan
Okay.
created a Google form. Google
Okay.
has like one form builder, which is very easy. Once we have signed in, it will allow us to create a form, and that
Mm-hmm.
form is publicly available. Anybody can submit their email, name, and detail, whatever we can customize, and that will be stored into the Excel sheet.
Okay.
So it is a very simple code. I'll show you quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm unable to figure it out, but I think we can search it later. So there are some file available somewhere.
Yeah. We can search on GitHub later.
Yeah.
We can search on GitHub later.
Yes, yes. So it is a simple script which is submitting a form, and that will be captured into an Excel sheet that you can explore. For the timing, that is a good start. And about this landing page, let's discuss a little bit. So what's your thought process and how you come up so that other people who want to take it from here, they can get some idea like what you have done till now. Okay.
Okay.
We will go a bit slowly so that we won't go into very low level like what is HTML head, but we'll just briefly discuss about some of the important part,
Okay.
so that it would be helpful for somebody to pick it up.
Yeah.
So in this head section, anything is relevant? Like, do you want to discuss about anything here?
Yeah, the first thing that is relevant here is a char set or character set property in the meta. So we have to set it for UTF-8. This is this should be done here because if we want to include most of the characters, like say emoji and all of that, and other languages characters as well, in case. So this is part where it is actually told to the HTML parser that okay, so parse all of the characters that are in this set particular in Unicode format. So this line is quite important if you are building a web page in modern web page. The second line is the viewport. So this initial scale 1 equals 0. This is very important if you are building a mobile responsiveness uh, site. So this initial scale 1.0, what it does is that it doesn't matter what your device is. If you actually put this width equals device width, so it will scale your complete page as per the device width. And if you actually go it by initial scale equals 1, so it will help later if you are actually trying to make it responsive using media properties, media queries. And this line is important for that. The third line is where I've included the external style sheet. And the fourth is, yeah, this one. The fourth is where I have put the title. This title is something that is actually shown on the search engine as well. So it should be done as descriptive as possible. So let's say if everybody searches Twindle, so Twindle should be there because that will be kind of like get up in the search engine. And what it does should also be there. if you want. Otherwise, you can create a meta description tag and put something there as well, which I have left out because I was quite quick. I wanted to do the designing quite quickly rather than focus on the SEO part that much, which I don't kind of don't have that much idea, but just a basics. Then our header is closed. So everything that is in the header actually goes in the is actually for the browser or the Google search engine or whatever search engine that you are actually trying to that you actually use. Everything that is in the body, that is what will be displayed in your page once a user visits your page. So in the body, what I actually did is that I use the HTML5 syntax. The tags as well is of HTML5. So I divided the body into three parts in my head or in the conceptual part. The first is header. So I will first design the header. Then there's a main. So what I do is I simply first write header, then main, then footer. So I know that I have to divide this page into three parts. Then I will design, then I go first with the header part and simply jot out the, like if I am going to go to how it's actually displayed using design. So there was one in the header, there was a logo, okay, and after the logo, there was a navigation where about everything was there. So the logo can be done simply using a tag because you need to have the logo if you want to redirect every time to your home page. So that is done, and I put the image there, which is an SVG. SVG is there so that even if you scale the image, it looks quite good and there's no pixelated format. Then there's a nav tag. Nav tag is for is a new HTML5 tag, which is to show that okay, so this is where the navigation is. Then UL is for uh, listing out all the list, and within the list you have all the anchor tags for different sections. So the reason why I actually wrote hashtag about, hashtag team, and hashtag testimonials because I was thinking that if we are actually going to move forward, it should be like kind of like a single page where we divide all the main sections into different IDs. So the our landing will be first one. Let's say it's a home page. Then the second section or second section could be like about ID, then team ID. So it will help us to click on the about button in this link, and the scrollable effect kind of like the scrollable effect will be generated in our page where the page scrolls down to that section automatically. We can kind of like go ahead with it or do something else later. At this point, it's not that that much. Sorry, it's not that much important.
One
Once I
question
designed
here.
this,
One question here in the
yeah.
header section.
Mhm.
Can we discuss about the little bit style related to this header part only?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So the first thing that you actually do is like figure out the head. Let's say I'm designing a header, so figure out, okay, so this is how I want to create. There's a logo, there's a navigation, and then simply jot out the structure. Once the structure is done, do not go to main and do not go to footer. At least I don't do that. I first jot out the structure in a particular section, then I simply directly jump to the header, the styling part, and lay out that particular section styling part. So the way to build a web page is to build a header, then a main, then a footer, and all of the components. And at the end, you will have a complete web page. So let's go one by one here. I have included a font. That's an import URL that you can get from Google Fonts. So I think there's something that's self-evident. Yeah, it's a Moolish font. This whatever font is there, you kind of get it in the Figma design. So Joel actually used the Moolish font, so I imported that. Then the star, this particular, the first is this one. The star margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. So what it does is that it selects every element. The moment you put a star, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to select all the elements. It doesn't matter if it's H1P anchor, doesn't matter. So the reason why you actually put margin padding as 0, 0 in this star is so that you can remove all the pre-existing styles that every element actually comes with. And the reason why you would want to do that is because different browsers have different pre-existing styles for different elements. So you want to kind of neutralize all that styling, default styling, especially of margin and padding. This is a short one. There's many other kind of files available on internet that kind of does this for a large number of elements. This is like just what I do basically every time I actually start a style. The borders, the box sizing is for the border box means that uh, I at this point I don't know how to explain it, but what happens is if you do not write that and you go with and let's say you change the padding of the paragraph later, so it kind of go beyond its width or beyond its a custom border, and it kind of gives a bad impression on the design. So it has something to do with that. So I'm not able to kind of explain without showing you. So
That is
yeah,
fine.
you
That
can
is
actually
fine.
go.
That is all fine.
Yeah,
We no need to explain each and everything just to get a feel of it. One question I have here:
yeah, yeah.
did you directly write the CSS file, or you have used any preprocessor, for example, SAS or SCCS?
Yes. So yes, so I actually didn't use any of the SAS particular functions, but I actually did write all of these code in the SAS file in VS Code. And the reason why I actually did it, SCSS file in the VS Code, there's an extension by Ritwik Day, which goes by watch SAS, like live SAS, something like compiler. So the reason why I actually did is because it actually generates this WebKit box sizing and all of these for automatically for you. So it's kind of like you write only the ones that you care about, like box sizing. I know that. Justified content, I know that, but I do not know much about the WebKit and MS and all of that. So if you are writing, that actually helps to write. Like you can write a complete simple CSS in that SCSS file if you are beginner, and simply watch that file, and it will give you a much enhanced CSS file that will have all of these WebKit and MS Flex pack automatically built in. So that's why I always go with SCSS, even if I'm writing like a simple CSS. So I don't have to write these extra lines by myself.
One suggestion I have:
Mm-hmm.
uh, you have done correctly, but at this stage, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To sing this WebKit, all this thing to people like who are beginner, it will be confusing to them a lot. So for the initial release, right,
Mm-hmm.
I prefer not to have this kind
Mm-hmm.
of because this will basically what it will happen. It will support a wide range of browser.
Yeah.
For example, IE, Mozilla, Safari, but I don't need this. So at this moment, it is
Mm.
not required for having a wider browser support. At this moment, my main priority is that we should encourage other people, because then if you ask to SCCS, right, then we have to create a video tutorial, even though it is a simple step, but think in a lens from
Mm-hmm.
a beginner, they have to learn something different. They will be intimidating by that. So
Yes.
what I
So.
suggest, we can remove this WebKit, all this thing at this stage. Before going
Mm-hmm.
live, right, then we can come up, you and me can come up with some process. The production version may
Uh-huh.
contain this. We'll figure it out some build mechanism that is possible. But in the development
Okay.
code, right, I don't want this to be hanging around here. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. 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 Completely.
So this
So let's
whichever
go with
started with
yeah.
DSS. So can you able to make a PR on this?
Yeah, I will try. I will have to see whether how I can actually opt this edition one. There has to be an option, so I will raise it as soon as possible.
No, no hurry. Or in the CSS also, right?
Mm.
If you are busy, I can do that. Or CSS, you can say delete this
Okay.
DSS line. I don't need this DSS line. You know.
Yeah.
Or you can just you write, instead of writing CSS, just copy that and put the CSS. Because as you said, you have not written that thing, it is auto-generated, and you have not applied any other feature. So your SCCS file is exactly a CSS file. Actually, I am not.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got my thought process right.
Exactly.
Whatever you've done is correct
Yeah.
one. But for beginner, right, it will confuse. They will worry
Exactly.
that why it is done. Then we have to explain them, and so it would be
Yeah.
a bit of time consuming.
Exactly. So I will do it as soon as possible. And let's go to header part because that's where I have to explain, right?
Yeah.
So in the header part, since we have two elements within the header, that is, one is anchor tag and another is nav tag as a main element, right? In the header, in the HTML part. So what I wanted to do is that I want to separate these particular elements apart from each other. So I use the display flex property, which is a new modern CSS property. And so I set the header display as flex, then I justified the content to space evenly. What it does is that it puts the space between these two elements, that is an anchor tag and whatever elements there are, and it puts the space between them as well as from the borders, some as well. So it justify it kind of like stretches them out throughout this particular width of our header element. And then I align the items to center. That means if my image is like somewhat big and my text is like above or below, so I kind of like want all of them to be a complete center space, take the center space, and the content is for all of for the same purpose as well. So once we do this particular header section, what we will have is that our anchor and nav tag will be separated in a very centrist position in our viewpoint, right? But that wouldn't mean that our nav tag will have lists, the list items in like side by side. That they will still be one after another, like list is. So what we do next is that, and the position will also be like they kind of like will be at each other's head as well. When I was doing it, that's how it was.
1 second,
So anchor
Saurabh.
and nav was, yeah. Can you like put this one, this particular window a little bit below this page and let the header be shown at back in the Twindle page? Mm.
Is it okay?
Let me see. I'm not able to see right now. So hello.
Yeah. Go ahead, Saurabh.
Yes. So as you can see in the header, we have an anchor tag with our Twitter logo, our Twindle logo, right? And then we have a navigation about, theme, and testimonials. So the header tag actually contains two parent elements, that is an anchor tag, and then we have a navigation tag. So what we want to first, whatever we put in the header tag, whatever styling we put to the header tag will be applied directly to this anchor tag and then this navigation tag containing all of our list items. So the moment we do flex, display equals flex, what happens is that these two images, that anchor tag and that navigation tag, get side by side rather than one below the other. Okay. Once we have
If I remember
once
correctly,
we,
earlier we are using like
yeah,
flag, plot equal to right, plot equal to left,
yes.
like that approach, right?
So
Before
flex,
Flexbox.
yes. Yes. When flex wasn't present there, so what we used to do is we used to like display as equals block, and then we will float the anchor to the left and float the navigation to the right, I believe. Yeah, right and left. Yes. And then we style further. But since the introduction of flex and later the grid, which I haven't used, I'm going to go with the flex. The moment you do flex, it kind of automatically get before you display flex, before you actually add this display flex property, the way you will be seeing this page will be anchor image, and just below that free listing. The moment you write display flex, these two anchor image and navigation tag becomes side by side, but they are still not spaced apart like the way I'm actually like the way you are actually seeing. So there's a full width space between the logo and the navigation, right? So in order to do this
So
spacing,
whatever you are saying that
what you do
if
is
you don't put this flex,
Mhm.
let me try to
Yes,
let me try to do this.
I think you have to remove this display fx and fx as well.
Yeah, just let me comment it everything. You don't do header. Yeah, something like that. Or this one also, right?
Yes, yes. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you
The
put.
whole header one.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you put lots of things. It will take lots of time. But I got the idea. Yeah, thanks for that. You continue on that.
Yeah, anybody who wants to try it, you can like simply download and run the page in your PC and try to remove the styling one by one and see what particular style actually does. That's actually kind of like how I actually learn most of the CSS.
Yeah, so in the
Okay.
header, you have put the display flags. So that will do all the
Mm-hmm.
magic. And
Yeah,
justify content
that
space evenly. What does it mean? Space
yes.
evenly means?
So it means that between anchor and navigation tag, you want that particular
Anchor means this
space so
logo.
that they can.
This logo, right? This is the
Hmm,
logo is the anchor tag you're referring.
yes, yeah. This logo, and between that logo and between this navigation that is about theme and testimonial, you want a space so that one actually resides at one end, that is left, and another resides at right.
Okay, so
So
we no
you
need to
do
explicitly
justify,
mention
yeah.
that we need this navigation as right or logo as left. We no need to mention that.
No, we simply go and say justify content and space evenly, and it will separate the elements apart by itself. Okay, and then the align items center. What that does is that okay, so even when we have separated, let's say, and you have a title that is, let's for a moment think that we have a title, and that's the logo is actually a title, and that's a very big title, and very big font size, and the about and all this navigation is quite small. So what happens sometimes is that they are not, when you look at it, you won't be seeing that they are all in center in our particular horizontal width. They are not in center. Some, like, you will think that about and all of this navigation is upper corner, right? Upper side of that particular box, whereas our text is middle or somewhere else. So this align item, what it does is it centers all of that within the header tag. Whatever elements are, they will automatically center themselves on a vertical view plane.
Okay, okay,
Uh,
makes sense.
was that understandable?
Yes, yes, perfectly. And what about why you given this flex equal to
Okay.
1?
Yes, so flex equals 1 is to kind of like define how much space my navigation will be taking. So uh, like I said, that there will be a space apart, right? So if I don't do flex equals 1, like kind of just remove these particular 3 lines here and let the page reload the server.
Which
Just simply comment that out. Yeah, flex this particular header nav one, comment this particular thing out, and that will it more possible to see how it is actually happening. Yeah. Can we go and see the page?
yes, in the right hand side it is there.
Mm, it is not showing in my feed right now. So, like, make this particular web page complete. Like, yeah, comment it all. Now remove the comment. Then see how it actually reloads the page. Did you see what happened?
Yes, yes.
So what, yeah, so what actually does is that I'm increasing the width of the nav tag, right? So I'm saying I don't want the logo, which only has one image, right, to occupy the same amount of width that my other element, which has like three components, like three text, right? So I don't want, let's say, how do I define it? Let's say there's that header element, that header tag is 100 centimeters, right? So, or 100 pixels. So I don't want that my logo lies in 50 pixels and then my navigation lies in 50 pixels. So I will be increasing the navigation pixel size or width somewhere somewhat even more than what it was, and I will let the CSS decide. So I'd simply put kind of like flex equals 1 here. So it started occupying even more larger area, and whatever the size of my logo is, only that much amount is now being allocated to the logo rather than the whole 50 pixel width kind of. So which was making the logo at center. I think I can explain only this much
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm not
it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I think that is very good explanation. And why you have a nested display flex again? Because you once you declare in the header here, so you have to declare. You can declare anywhere you like, or is there any restriction?
No, we can. You can actually make it. You can actually declare any block element you like. So the reason why the above header flex, what it does is that header has only two elements. One is logo and another is navigation tag, right? So it only works on those. Okay, and the moment we actually go, the reason why I wrote it in within navigation and UL is because UL has three elements, that is three listing, that three list about team and testimony. So in order to make this particular one work, I went ahead and defined the flex again. So you can do it in many ways. I thought, why not just go ahead and do the flex again and kind of like bring them all in one line, then justify it with a flex end. So if I don't put the flex end, what it does is that it will push all of these about team and testimonials to the leftmost side, and this and the logo will be at each other's throat. So if I actually remove it and remove this WebKit box pack and MS flex pack to end as well. Yeah. So if you actually go ahead and do it, I think it will look better if we show the whole page, because that's where you can actually find that flex end of
Yeah, that is
flex.
fine. I think whoever want to experiment, they can play around. I think we.
Yes. So yeah, so justify content flex end means that I want to shift that but whole three listings to the rightmost end of my UL tag. Okay, so rather than showing on the left tag, I want to just, it's kind of like float right.
Okay, okay,
That's
makes sense.
that's the whole. Yes, it's float right thing.
And also
List style
one
is that I
suggestion.
want. Mhm.
Like now we'll just skip about the topic in general discussion. If you get some free time, right, you can create a video explaining about Flex and whichever the no need to detail tutorial about Flex, but whatever the explain about Flex, so you can create more tutorial specific to Flex and upload into Twindle channel, so other people will be get
Mhm.
benefited if you get time,
Okay, okay.
but not in hurry. Okay.
I yeah. So the problem with explanation is that even though I know it, in order to explain, I have to kind of like, yeah. I will try. Okay.
But no need to prepare anything or no need to edit or polish a video. It can be raw, even
Okay.
though your information is not 100% correct. That is all good, because in technical nobody can 100% be right all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I will
now we'll
definitely give
just
it a try.
skim about the thing. We want to get into detail. So I got the idea,
Yes.
like UL you have used, and LI UL, whatever the thing, you put some text decoration here. Can you explain a little bit about here?
Yes, so the anchor tag is by default some purple or bluish color. So I actually gave it a color of black so that our team testimonials about is colored in black. Text decoration none means that I want to remove the underline from the anchor tag. Padding is something that I put it here so that when you hover over it, you actually get a background color. So in order to do that, I actually created a padding between this team and testimonials. So 0.5 rem means that I want rem is simply root element size, and you multiply it with that whatever number you have. So the root element size by default is 16 pixels unless you set it in the HTML or body tag. So what I'm doing is that, okay, so from top and bottom, I want 0.5 into 16 pixels spacing within my element anchor tag. And from left and right, I want 16 pixel spacing from both ends. So, and then I said that border radius is 2 rem, that means 32 pixels. And so it kind of gives a round variation. And later, I actually did the transition effect, which is 3 seconds, ease in and ease out. That's how the graph, that animation plays out. And I said that transition every element that I have actually defined. Transition every CSS property that I actually defined here. And in that hover position, I think I forgot the focus one as well. But anyways, so in the hover, yeah, it's actually their focus one. So in the hover and focus, meaning that the moment I point my arrow to about us or team or testimonials, hover over them, or I go in my mobile and try to like uh, click on any of them, that means focusing on them, the background color will change to whatever color I have defined following the transition that I have defined above. So if you actually hover over it, that particular background color will be there with all the padding and everything that I have defined there with the border radius of that padding as well. So it actually kind of gives you a kind of which element is active. So later we can actually go ahead and do the active part as well. But at this point, only hover and focus is there. So this is that particular element. And once you have finished, I have finished this, that means my header is done. Okay. Once I have created all the headers, then I went ahead and did all the footer part. I didn't focus on the main part yet. I did because header is easy, then footer is easy. And then later you can actually, between these two, you can actually put the main. So I went back to my HTML, created all the structure for the footer, then came back to my style and created all the CSS design for the footer. Similarly, then went back to HTML and created all the main structure one by one. So if you actually look at this particular page right here, the moment you see it, you kind of like guess, okay, so there's a Twindle heading. So that's, let's say, it's our H1 tag. Then below it is our better reading experience, that our P tag. Below it, we have an SVG image or whatever image. So that third tag, right? Below it, we have coming soon. So that fourth P tag. Then we have our form, which is an up button. And then we have what does Twindle offer. That's our particular S3 tag. And then we have another paragraph. So you can actually define all of that structure within the HTML main section, right? And then you can actually categorize these section into different section as well. So I said, okay, so Twindle and better reading experience, that will be my page heading section within the main tag, right? Then that image and coming soon, that will be my second section of coming soon. Then that particular form, that will be my form section, where I am actually getting the email subscriptions, right? Then finally, I have the fourth section, that is what does HTML offer. So what do we offer, something like that. And then I designed all of that, different. So it's like break them apart and then design them, focus little component and then design them. And at the end, you simply get this whole particular page. One thing that I actually always do when I define any of this particular section is that I actually changed the background of that particular, let's say I'm designing the header. So rather than going with the initial background that is given to me, right, which is this particular white color, white shade, what I actually do is I say background equals red. Then when I go to footer, I say background equals green. So it's like make them all vibrant. I kind of like, so that I can actually see what is the length. I don't want to simply make them all the same from the get-go, because now I'm not able to see or visualize the box sizing or box width and all of that, because they are all different. So I kind of like that shade them all different. So in the beginning, I actually did the header as red, then Twindle as violet, then cream effect, and form as red again. So it's like different. Then design them all. Then simply remove at the end, remove all the background colors and put the color that is actually there, so that your page look like wholesome. That's my thinking process, or that's how I actually always design whatever little designing I do. That's the approach I actually take.
Yeah, that's
Was that
very,
actually
yeah,
helpful?
yeah, that's very, very good, and it will definitely be helpful for the beginner, and so they can get it understand.
Yes.
And what are the other areas are still left in this page as per you? What other
Yes, so
people can
there's
contribute?
mobile responsiveness part. Yes, so another person, whoever wants to contribute to it, can do the mobile responsiveness of this page. That will be the first thing, right? If you want to focus on CSS and HTML, do the mobile responsiveness part of it. The and you can also design the mobile responsiveness design as well if you want in the Figma as well. Okay, so that's like a design and then a coding for the mobile responsiveness. The second thing is that you can actually go ahead and take the input from this particular form, because right now it's just a form. There's no JavaScript involved to get the input out of it. So what we are going to be using here is, rather than, because we are only dealing with JavaScript. So the form has an ID. You can get that ID, and whatever the input value is there, you can use the Ajax or API call, however you want to set it up, with like the way Madhusudan has done. So I think we can incorporate his code, and somebody has to get him to like talk with him and incorporate his code to this particular form section using the JavaScript. And then we can, whatever we sign up, we will be getting the email at our Excel sheet, wherever we want, something like that. So there are
Yeah.
two tasks left. One is mobile responsiveness, and the other one is JavaScript part to get the email.
If you ask me, Saurabh, like I have little bit to set the priority right. The mobile
Mhm.
responsiveness is not the priority at this moment for me. Okay,
Okay.
that is good to have, but it can before launching we need to do. But I need I can see this page needs little bit more work. You know, in terms of
Mhm.
the testimonial page, we have to come up with the design, and the team page needs to come up with the design and about also some information.
Yes.
And this particular
Yeah.
section is not
Exactly.
very
So.
looking prominently displayed, because this design can be improved, because
Mhm.
you remember what is the icon you come up with the design, and that way you can integrate, because this is looks like a little bit not very clean. And this email also, right, this is
Yes.
very they
Mhm.
are very close together, and not very clean. This email part can be improved. So there are a couple of things I
Mm.
think we still need to improve.
Exactly. Yeah. Anybody who wants to like go ahead and give tweak the designing part, design here, and first they can actually come up with a little bit tweak of this design, and then we can actually start with that HTML uh, modification as well. So yes, it's completely open. It's not like it's a final one. So we have to come up with all the iteration. That's why I actually submitted. So like Sarah said that you guys can actually design and throw it to the people, and then we have a discussion. and whatever improvements that we will be needing, we can come up with that. So it's all that part, right? It's not like this is it, and now we will be focusing on some other, because we have to make it like eye-catching, right? It's simple, but it's like it feels like, if I have understood correctly, you are saying that it's kind of too simple.
Yes, it needs to be, but it is a very good start. But we have to
Yes,
little bit improve it so that it looks more professional. We'll go with
yes,
this
yes.
theme. We won't
Hmm.
make radically change, but few of the section we have to improve.
Exactly, exactly. That's why I actually put it, so that we can now work on this particular, rather than working on each of our own header and our own main section and footer. We can simply say, well, okay, so this is the page. Now let's work on this particular page. Branch it out, like Joel actually said, create your own branches, then make your changes, push it, and raise the PR, and we'll figure out which one is right, and then we will be merging it to the main. That way we will be learning a lot of how a particular in a very synchronous way code is done, rather than the asynchronous format that we were doing, like we were building each of us our own particular web pages and all.
Yeah. And one more suggestion for you. I'm giving lots of tasks to you, so don't mind it. You can do whenever you
No,
get
no, no.
chance. The first I explained, right? Like you can create a video about, but that is optional. You can take some time, and today we are recording anyway session. Today's session is very helpful. But other small thing,
Mhm.
right? If you can create a small issue about the landing page and explain about small points. For example, this email input box needs some work, and the lorem ipsum can be updated with
Mhm.
some text, and this banner part can need some work, and if- or mobile responsive you can
Mhm.
put, but I
Exactly.
would recommend mobile responsive, and the form validation don't worry about too much. That we can do that later. But if it's a
Okay.
small task, like for example hover effect option, or you think like, because one thing we are talking, right? Because many people don't prefer to watch a long form video, because we are almost 40 minutes into the video, and we are having some quality
Yes.
discussion about the task, but many people don't have that
Yes. Yes.
attention span to watch till this end, so that information sharing by this medium will be lost.
Exactly. Exactly.
We have to try whichever the better. So I would suggest like create one issue. No need to create multiple issues, but I'm not sure like how to tackle it. But create one issue and write in explicitly like problem statement, like be as clear as possible, so that other people can pick the task and able to do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Don't worry.
And also this WebKit part also you can create as a task, or if you don't get time, so somebody can remove it and put it there is a PR. That would be a good exercise. But we
Okay.
have to create a task for that, issue for that. Yeah. So, do you have any concluding remarks for me?
No, let's do it, and let's create an issue and see how much progress we can make by tomorrow, and even more further, right?
Yeah.
So,
Don't
um,
wait for any other people to pick. If you get time ready, you keep on working, because
exactly, exactly.
you create issue, and if you get time and if you want to contribute, you just do the fixes in there so that you can close your own issue. But just create issue
Okay,
if you're not getting time. If somebody want to jump in, jump in. Otherwise, if it is lying for 1 or 2 days, you just pick it up and fix it, and we'll improve it slowly. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Saurabh. It was very nice talking to you.
Thank you as to you as well. It was really nice, and I learned a lot. So, thank you again.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.